Hi guys, it's Thomas here from COTBase.com. Welcome to a weekly COT review. Today we're going to be analyzing the 22nd commitments of Traders Report of 2025, and as we always do, we shall start out by looking at the largest changes in commercials net positions. But before I jump to the review, just a brief reminder for anybody who is new to this wonderful data that is published by the Commodity Futures Trading Commission. This is a page where you can actually find a lot of educational material. Not only do we have written format educational materials, but we actually have some very useful videos as well. Of course, on our YouTube channel, you'll find a ton. If you like, you can subscribe to it and get notified if we have a new video out. I would also like to point out that we have some great deals going on, summer deals, on our most popular services. So if you'd like to check that out, then you're welcome to do so. Back to our review, we have Platinum on top of our list with a 24% change in commercials net positions. We are, of course, analyzing the classic COT report type, futures and options data combined. We, of course, have three main trader categories within the classic COT report: commercials, large speculators, and non-reportables, or as we call them, small speculators. So in the case of Platinum, this 24% change can be seen on the chart over here at the end. It is a greater than average change side. It is a bearish COT change signal, suggesting some further weakness in the market in the short term. You can see large speculators in green and small speculators on the separate scale chart over here in blue. What's interesting to see when it comes to small speculators is how bearish they are compared to this 5 years chart, which in itself is actually, I'd say, more of a positive sign for Platinum. Small speculators generally tend to be on the wrong side of the market at bigger reversals in trends. So we shall see how this develops. Nevertheless, if you want, you can actually check out our unique iCOT Intraday Indicator. I'm going to show you Platinum here on TradingView. We've developed this indicator based on our knowledge and commitments of traders analysis. We've always dreamed about bringing COT analysis into the shorter time frames. Now, I know this is a daily candlestick chart. I just want to start over here. So it is not. It's the data itself is not directly from CFTC, but indirectly it's based off of that concept and analysis. We call these iCOT scores lines, but it basically moves or behaves very similarly to a COT index, and we're measuring stress within the market. What you can do besides looking just at the scores is actually have a look at the signals, and the indicator will define the best times to go long or short. And this is a daily candlestick chart. It's just amazing how well, even on this default setting, as you just saw, can actually pinpoint exact times when there's a bottom or a top. It's really, really accurate, and it is developed to help you identify good entry and exit times. This is an hourly chart. As you can see now, not only do we have these green and red vertical lines, but the individual extremes for commercials and speculators, let's call the scores line according to what we are used to. So red commercials, green for speculators. If we have a signal from either, then it's actually represented on the chart. A yellow diamond underneath the candlestick would be a bullish sign from commercials. Above would be a bearish. For speculators, it's simply the candlestick changing its color to blue. That's how you can identify a signal. Back to our review, moving on to our next market, the gasoline market, 13% change over here. Let's go back to the yearly chart. So it's a bit larger than average. However, if you look at this 1 year chart, it's not that uncommon. I wouldn't necessarily put that much emphasis on it. It is pointing upwards. We could argue that it's at a decent support level, so that might trigger your interest in this. Moving to a 5 years chart, really nothing to talk about. There's no extreme, so it's just the very, very little COT change signal. I know it's the second on the market, but don't forget COT data is not derived from price, so it's a separate, unique data. It breaks down open interest in the market, so you always have to open the charts and see the recent change in relation to that specific market, because the percentage in itself does not really mean much. Brazilian Real is our next market, 11% change over here. Again, not something that I'd be too excited about. It is maybe in relative terms a bit larger than what we just saw in gasoline. You can see there's times here when there's really very little change in traders' net positions. It's a bit larger than that. It is bearish, suggesting some weakness coming. If we switch to a 5 years chart, however, it becomes more clear that this is actually a bearish COT Extreme situation. You can see commercials moving between 55,000 contracts net long, and then the most bearish extreme over here was minus was about 70,000 contracts net short, and it's somewhere over there right now. So it is suggesting we may see the Brazilian Real come down in the medium to long term. Moving our attention over to large speculators COT Extreme analysis, we've got the Euro British Pound currency futures contract on top of our list with an 89 report extreme. So again, this is large speculators COT Extreme analysis. If you take this recent report, you can kind of see where it stands in relation to a 5 years time horizon. It's definitely in between. I would argue that this is more of a bearish COT Extreme, but then again, this is the Euro British Pound futures contract that is not as heavily traded as the Euro or the British Pound separately. So I would strongly advise anybody who's trading this futures market to not just look at this COT data, but move over to the Euro and the British Pound futures contract separately, analyze them to come to some sort of a conclusion. Now, corn is our next market. Here we have a 38 report extreme in large speculators. You can see what that means. This is becoming more of a bullish COT extreme, which of course coincides with what we've been witnessing in wheat markets and soybean markets. So overall, I'd say in grains, we are witnessing more of a bullish picture being drawn from COT reports. Platinum we talked about. So the next market is going to be natural gas. This is going to be our last one for this review. Here we have a 23 report extreme in large speculators. So again, 23 reports ago, we saw large speculators at this net position level. It's not something that is too clear. It is pointing a little bit upwards, I'd say, closer to bullish COT extremes. You can see that the last extreme that was able to affect the market was this bearish COT extreme. It did kind of halt this rally, put an end to it, and we've seen the market struggle underneath that price. You can see what a more clear bullish COT extreme looks like. We're kind of in between those right now as we're speaking. Now, there's a lot to do here at COTBase.com. Of course, our whole service is built around the commitments of traders report. As I suggested, you may want to consider subscribing to our YouTube channel so that you can get notified if there's a new video coming out. If you enjoyed this video, by the way, I wouldn't mind if you hit that like button. It means a lot for the channel and for us as well, of course. Thank you for that. If you have any questions, by the way, feel free to comment underneath the video or send us an email to info@cotbase.com. And lastly, don't forget that we have these wonderful summer deals going on. You may want to check them out because these are really great prices compared to our normal pricing. You may want to take advantage of those. Thank you very much for your attention. I wish you guys will have a wonderful weekend, and I hope to see you in my next COT review. Take care. Goodbye.